It's my pleasure to introduce Christophe Laurence. Christophe is the Vice President of Business Development for Africa for Total Eren.
Good morning, everyone. Pleasure to be to this conference again to discuss renewable and mining. Let me start with a question on the audience. Who has visited actually a mine? Can you raise your arm, please? Okay, and who has seen a large-scale solar project? All right, well, that's quite impressive. And who has seen a combination of both? Okay, less people. Okay, well, let's hope next year there will be many more arms for people who have seen a large-scale solar project associated with a mine. So I'm Christophe. I'm responsible for our business development in Africa at Total Eren. We are renewable energy IPP. Here is a landmark photo of our project in Burkina Faso, where we have, together with our partner, development partner for Africa, AEMP, we have developed, built, and now operate a 15 megawatt solar project for IAMGOLD, a second gold mine. Just to give a few credentials, but this project has been developed with AEMP. IAMGOLD is our energy buyer. The project has been built by Wärtsilä, and the debt for the project has been financed by the Burkina-based subsidiary of BNP Paribas. So during the presentation today, I will try to do two things. First is give you some feedback about this project, including talking about sometimes the ugly truth about it. And I will also explain to you why solar is such a compelling case today, and why in the same way that no one would build a house today without heat insulation or double windows, why there should not be any diesel plant built without an association of solar energy, at least in the countries that benefit some sun. So in a few words, Total Eren is an independent power producer with wind, solar, battery, and hybrid assets around the world. We have 1.3 gigawatts. We develop projects in which we invest our equity and sell energy for the long term. So we are professional in this business. And we invest for the long term. We don't have exit strategy. I mean, we are an industrial in energy and an expert. In Africa, we have a few projects operating. We are completing right now construction for two projects of approximately 1 square kilometer of solar panels in Egypt, and many more projects in the pipeline. So a quick overview about the technology we are operating around the world. Maybe worth mentioning, beyond powering utilities and powering industries like the Essakane gold mine, we also provide energy solution for, in the case of Africa, for the over 70% of people who don't have access to energy, the remote communities. So we really see that today IPPs can play out a role to provide economic renewable energy to utilities, to industries, and also to the off-grid people, the one forgotten out there. And as Steve Letwin was mentioning, the demographics of Africa make it virtually impossible to cater for energy for everyone through the grid. So part of the solution is to also bring energy and economic development in the village. So I will focus on the benefits of solar energy from the independent power producer point of view, the scheme under which we, as a professional of renewable energy, invest in projects and sell energy. There can be another approach, which is the mining company can decide to invest its capital into a renewable energy project, but we advocate externalizing the solution to professionals. The benefits are, of course, well, solar energy is the cheapest form of energy today and will remain like that. The solution contracted under a power purchase agreement does not require CapEx or OpEx from the mine other than paying electricity bills. And solar being, first of all, the cheapest source of energy, but is also helping today not replace 100% of energy, but hedge part of the energy cost against oil price variation. So it's a little bit PPA versus OPEC. And finally, and more important, renewable energy not only is good for business, that's a prerequisite, but it's also good, mind you, for the environment. And today, a social license to operate is becoming really a central point. Hedging against carbon tax mechanism that may happen in the future is also another benefit of renewable energy in your energy mix. And in the case of our solar project in Essakane, if you think of it, there's a mine with its diesel plant that operates. Then we enter into a contract with IAMGOLD, and instead of having a mine plus a diesel plant, comes a new system under which we build, invest a large amount in Burkina. We employ 45 people from Burkina to create cheaper energy. So it's just adding value to not only the business, but also to the communities. And we live at the end of mine life. This project will also be a legacy for the communities. So really the value is not only economic, it's also social. So when is the right time to go solar? I mean, discussions can be, proposals can be evaluated. We really make proposals to mines on a daily basis, nearly. Why are we starting construction for so few projects? Is there a perception that solar may become more competitive in the future? Is it a good reason to wait? Let's look at a few angles about this topic. First of all, quite true, solar panels have seen their cost decrease dramatically. It has even collapsed, you could say. But a solar panel represents today 1/3 or 1/4 of the total project cost. So what we think is that there are a lot of incompressible costs or little compressible costs out there that indicate that today is a good day to decide, because tomorrow it may get a little more competitive, solar technology, but the avoided savings in the meantime are not going to be compensated by those future savings. I mean, saving fuel now on a limited length of mine is more important than waiting for better technology price. And in particular, in the cost driver of solar energy, I mean, you can see any price for solar. Yesterday, Armin was asking, what do you think a good price can be for solar energy? It can be 3 cents, 5 cents, 10 cents. It depends. It depends where it's installed. It depends on logistics. It depends on security concerns to build the project. So some areas may be more easy to build than others. There are a lot of parameters to solar technology price. But the main driver remains for mine the duration of the contract. A solar project is a full capex, nearly no opex, so all the money is invested on day one, or on day zero, which means that as an investor, you have to recoup your investments over the longest period possible, because the technology can easily last 20, 25 years. So the longest the PPA, power purchase agreement, the better the economics. That said, life of mine is usually limited. So it's really about finding the right positioning of a PPA versus a life of mine. And maybe, as we have observed that, and you know that many mines have a permanent life of mine of 5 years or 10 years, but it doesn't change, even though time is passing and mine is accumulating the years. Maybe it's a good idea to review the concept of PPA duration, what happens for early termination, but really use the duration of PPA to maximize the energy price. Maybe a small termination cost at the end of a PPA for a plant that will be transferred as part of a mine closure plan is a good approach to extend the PPA duration and have a more competitive energy price. But when is the right time to go solar? Well, for IAMGOLD, it was clear. We had these discussions in 2017. Let's do this now. And today the plant is operating. So now let me share with you a little bit of feedback about that. First of all, this project, the Essakane Phase 1, as I call it, has been decided before batteries were economic enough to justify a higher share of solar in the project. In those days, solar energy introduction in the energy mix was really limited by the stability of the system. Clouds are really cutting off solar production, so you could only put so much solar without destabilizing the system. Since then, battery price has come down tremendously, and today we are nearly not looking at any project that would not have batteries to amortize the impact of clouds and intermittency on the project. But yet, with this solution, we can only reach 20-25% of energy supply from solar using battery for stabilization purpose. So what will be the next items that will allow to go beyond 25% of solar energy in a given system? Well, cheaper energy storage. Whether it will be batteries, we heard the words hydrogen, other technologies. Let's see, it's not there yet, not even close to, but looking at the trends, we can really hope that in some years energy storage will become cheap enough, and then there will be a revolution, because solar energy being the cheapest form of energy, if you could store it and release it during the evening and during the night, then you don't need anything else anymore. So energy storage will be really the holy grail of energy in the future. That said, what other components might help increase the share of solar energy in a mine is going full electric. Can it reduce somehow the usage of diesel energy in trucks? What if the price of oil goes up tremendously and then all of a sudden cheaper energy storage or energy storage becomes more competitive? Or what if diesel is not even acceptable at all anymore because your products will not be accepted by the customers anymore because they have too big a carbon footprints? So really we see a number of factors that will progressively take the introduction of renewable energy in your energy mix to very high levels. And maybe we can even talk about holy cows. Like, you're designing, I guess, mines today for the traditional energy approach, baseload power plant producing flat-out energy. What if you would invest in mining equipment that operate during the daytime and not during the night? Maybe you will double the capacity of your equipments to use this very cheap energy during the day, and you will switch them off during the night. I mean, maybe the paradigm must change. And if you take in consideration that solar energy, especially once you decide to build a project, you can make it very big. And then the economies of scales are showing very fast. So what if solar energy would be free? How would you change your mine design if energy is free during the day, during the sunny time? But no matter what, IAM Gold has decided to go with us, and we have proposed them a low solar penetration system 2 years ago. Today the batteries make the solar technology more acceptable for stability purposes. We could double the size of a project, so let's just do it. I mean, it's not a good reason to wait. I mean, one step after the other, the solar energy you introduce in your systems will remain the cheapest energy. Of course, I mean, we have delivered a project and experienced nearly anything that could go wrong. The cable factory burned to the ground, and the electric cables could only be made by that factory, and that created some delays. The day before inauguration, we had a sandstorm that really ruined the aesthetics of the power plant. It did not stop it from working, but it really made it look quite bad on the photos. We nearly had the financing for the project, and then the lender decided not to finance the deal anymore because he realized, okay, I don't want to finance a renewable energy project because it's for a mine. I mean, what is the logic behind it? But that's what happened in those days, and today the same lenders come back to us and say, oh, we want to be in next time. So things happen. I mean, lots of things happen, but that's the normal IPP business. That's what we do as a business. We make promises, and then we deliver promises no matter what, and we manage the issues. And we are used to experiment these problems. So what I'm saying is, well, shit happens, but... But that's our business. And if you look at this panel, I mean, a tree has flown into the solar panels in Burkina Faso. Can you believe it? I mean, well. But all in all, I mean, with all of this happening, project is performing well. We are on track with the fuel saving. We had more clouds during the rain season this year in Burkina Faso, as in other countries in Africa. But the project is performing, and we will save, according to the plans, nearly 6,000 tons of fuels for the first year of operation. I'm not going to dwell too much onto this, but just I explained to you already, we decided to go for a low penetration system, no batteries, so we were keeping it simple. To be sure that we were not going to, have a disaster for the first big hybrid in the world. It's working according to the plans. Now we are ready for next phase. And how will we do it today? And how do we plan to do it? Is increase the solar capacity from 19 megawatt to from 15 megawatt to 34, and bring the fuel saving potential to 1,400 tons per month. 1,400 tons per month. That's a number of trucks off the road. And we're also looking at prevision of, cloud forecast and things like that. So technology is moving and is just allowing to introduce more solar into the system. But if you look at the curve in the middle, realize that clouds are really having an incredible effect on solar production. You really have to get your stability studies right before you do a project. So now a few words about the IPP philosophy versus EPC philosophy. So I heard some customers would prefer to invest their money in the project to reap the full benefit, because we as an IPP, of course, capture a return on the project. If I have a look at this approach, I mean, if you go full IPP, you will just pay for an energy charge during the life of a project. Here I'm showing a flat energy charge. It can be shaped according to your business priorities. It could be going up, going down, going by steps. I mean, we will discuss with you, mining company, what is the best for your cost of all-in sustainable cost. Oh, sorry, all-in cost of mining. If you invest in the project, you will have to deal with what we deal with, which is contingencies, delays, operation, maintenance, replacement of inverters on the year 7 or 9, and all of those things. But really, my question is, yes, as an IPP, we capture some return on our investments, but we are professional of renewable energy investments. What about you, mining companies? Do you make bigger return on your capital by investing in mines than we do on our renewable energy project? We think so. We are infrastructure investors. You are investing money in a much more risky business. The sun is shining no matter what. We know how much it will shine every year. Finding gold is a lot more unpredictable. So we think you make better return by putting the money on your business, and we are the one who can provide you competitive energy. And this slide is dwelling on the, the hidden part of the iceberg. Building a project, there's a lot more to it than investing and deciding. It takes a lot of resource, it takes a lot of contingencies to manage for many, many years. We are here to do this kind of business. We take care of these things. We know how much percentage of efficiency will a solar panel lose every year for 15 years. So conclusion, trust IPPs to do the renewable energy generation. We know how to do it, and we will assume promises. So pick solid companies to do that. We are not alone in the market. There are many good players, but this is a relationship, even this is a cooperation. You are not buying equipment anymore. It's a long-term relationship that is built between the energy provider and the mine, so it's important to have people with strong balance sheet, in the same way that we would not contract the construction of a project to an adventurous company, and we will take a solid partner that can keep the promises no matter what. In the same way, select carefully who you're doing business with. But the main message is start to save fuel now. No time to lose. Solar is the cheapest form of energy. Just go for it, and let's look next year at many more projects. Thank you.